The temperature zones. Climate is the average condition of weather over a long period of time. The climate pattern of different places on the earth differs. To determine the type of climate, the pattern of rainfall, temperature, wind, and humidity over a period of 30 to 35 years is studied by scientists, along with the type of landform and location of the place. The climate of a place affects many things. The kinds of plants and animals living at any place are strongly affected by the climate. The kind of clothes that people wear and even the lifestyle they lead are affected by the climate. Factors that affect climate. Let us find out in detail about the factors that influence the climate of a place. Latitude. The latitude of a place determines how much sunlight the place receives. For example, the frozen areas of Greenland have a very cold and dry climate. On the other hand, the tropical rainforests of Zaire have a very hot and wet climate throughout the year. The difference in climate is due to the difference in the amount of sunlight that the two areas receive. Greenland is located at the Arctic Circle, latitude 66.5 degrees N, whereas Zaire is located at the equator, latitude 0 degree. Why does the amount of sunlight received on the earth vary with latitude? The curve of the earth's surface causes this difference. Look at the picture. Notice the two land areas in the northern hemisphere, X at the equator and Y near the Arctic Circle. Notice that as X receives direct and more intense rays of the sun, it is heated more. On the other hand, Y receives only the slanting rays of the sun, which are not as intense. The beam of sunlight at Y falls at an angle to the surface and therefore spreads over a larger area. As a result, the intensity of the sunlight that falls on the land is reduced. So, Y is much colder than X. Latitude and climatic zones. Based on latitudes, the Earth has been divided into 3 climatic zones. The climatic zones are sometimes called temperature zones. Each of these zones receives different intensity of sunlight because each is located at different distance from the equator. Let us read more about the 3 climatic zones. The torrid zone. The area on both sides of the equator between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn is called the torrid or tropical zone. The torrid zone receives strong sunlight throughout the year. The heat causes a lot of evaporation. This evaporated moisture rises up, forms clouds, and results in rain. So the zone receives a lot of rain. The climate is therefore very hot, wet, and humid. The days and nights are approximately equal in length throughout the year. Winters are not very cold near the equator. The temperate zone. The temperate zone extends from the Tropic of Cancer to the Arctic Circle in the northern hemisphere, called the North Temperate Zone, and from the Tropic of Capricorn to the Antarctic Circle in the southern hemisphere, called the South Temperate Zone. The climate in the temperate zone is cooler and drier than that in the torrid zone. There is also greater difference between winter and summer temperatures in the temperate zone as compared to the torrid zone. The frigid zone. The frigid zone extends from the Arctic Circle to the North Pole in the northern hemisphere, called the North Frigid Zone, and from the Antarctic Circle to the South Pole in the southern hemisphere, called South Frigid Zone. At the frigid zones, the latitudes are high and the rays of the sun are extremely slanted as they hit the land. The intensity of sunlight received by the Earth's surface is thus very low, and the climate is very cold. In the frigid zone, there is continuous daylight for 6 months, followed by continuous night time lasting 6 months. Altitude. Have you ever thought why hill stations tend to be much cooler than the plains? High altitudes moderate the climate by making it colder. For example, areas in the Shivalik hills of Uttarakhand, Mussoorie, altitude 2003 meter above sea level, are significantly colder than that of Dehradun, altitude 640 meter above sea level. Distance from the sea. Land becomes hotter and cools down quickly as compared to the seawater. During the day, the air above the land also heats up quickly and rises. This forces cool sea breeze to rush in and cool the land. In the evening, the land cools down more quickly than the sea. At this time, the warm breeze from the sea provides warmth to the land. Areas near the sea are thus neither very cold nor very warm because the sea moderates the climate. Humidity. The amount of water vapor or moisture the air can hold is called humidity. Areas near the equator are hot, so such areas have high humidity due to the large amounts of water that gets evaporated. The high humidity results in a large amount of rainfall. Therefore, areas near the equator have climates that are hot and wet and tend to receive heavy rainfall. Wind. Moving air is called wind. It can be hot, cold, humid, or dry. Each type of wind moderates the climate differently. For example, the monsoon winds lower the temperature, bringing rain and humidity to most parts of India. The desert winds blowing in northern India are hot and dry and tend to make the climate hotter and dustier.